Please turn now to week 2, which is the subject of the rooms of the mind. When we talk about human beings, you tend to talk about people who are soft and cuddly and friendly. But I prefer to visualize a human being as a house. Because in Revelation 3, verse 20, he says, I stand and I knock at the door, and if you will open that door and let me in, I will be with you. And so as we open that door, Jesus comes in, but then where is he? I visualize him as standing in the front hall. And in people's houses, the front hall is just the entrance. That's the beginning. But there are many other rooms in a house, a living room, a kitchen, dining rooms, bedrooms. But from a human standpoint, the rooms that we're talking about are the rooms of the mind. These are the places where we have stored experiences. This is where the wounds exist. These are the places where healing needs to occur. And if Jesus never moves from the front hall into these other rooms, the person's life isn't transformed. And so we need to use our free will to invite Jesus beyond the entrance, beyond the hallway, into these other rooms. The principle is exactly the same as salvation. In salvation, you take that door handle and you open the door and you invite Jesus into the front hall. Well, in those rooms of the mind, there's only a door handle on the inside of those rooms as well. You need to use your free will to invite Jesus into each of those rooms. He will not come if you don't invite him, because he respects you too much. He will not save you against your will, and he will not heal your mind against your will. He depends on you. He wants you to be involved in the process. And so, what is it that we've got in these different rooms? One example of a room is the room of sin, where we do things that we know we shouldn't be doing. And what do we tend to do? We keep that door shut, and we don't invite Jesus into it. We keep it secret. In a lot of cases, when we have sin, we don't let other people know either what's going on in that room. And so the process is to take that door on the inside and invite Jesus to move from the front hall into that room so that he can clean it out. When we confess, we expose that sin to light. And that's the beginning of the healing process, is inviting Jesus in and exposing it to him and letting him remove it and take it away. We have other rooms in our mind. There's the room of unforgiveness. There are people who hurt us, people who wound us, people who do things that are an insult. And we get angry and we get bitter. And we hold on to that anger because we think those people shouldn't get away with hurting us without being equally hurt. And as Christians, Jesus said, I have forgiven you, now go into the world and forgive others. But it's tough to do. Forgiveness is difficult. But we can do it with Jesus. If we open that door and invite Jesus into that room, he will help us forgive. And when that forgiveness occurs, there is such a freedom. The burden is lifted and the anger is gone and you feel better. There's a third type of room, and that's the room of lies. The room where we have listened to other people and accepted their words and allowed those hurtful words to live inside of us. And if we choose to open that door and invite Jesus in, he will bring truth, and his truth will set us free. There's a fourth type of room, and I call it the room of mental agreements. It's the room where we set our mind and we commit our thoughts. And we say something like, I will never speak to that person again. Or, I cannot trust men. Those type of mental agreements where we set our minds with conviction and strength are unproductive. They're unhelpful. But when we invite Jesus into that room, He will bring blessing. He will bring truth. He will help us transform our thoughts so that we don't need to live with those mental agreements any longer. And there's a fifth type of room. For some Christians who are hard on themselves, they tend to self-criticize and self-condemn and have self-loathing. And I call it the lack of self-forgiveness. Really, it's unbelief. It's a belief that Jesus' death on the cross didn't set us free. And so when we invite Jesus into that room and we allow Him to forgive us, and as we allow Him to share His love with us, He sets us free. All these rooms can be transformed. But let me ask you this question. What happens if you don't invite Jesus into these rooms? The answer is, you will not be healed. If there's a lie sitting in one of those rooms and Jesus doesn't come to bring that truth, that lie will live forever. I worked with a man who was 73 years old. He came to me and he was troubled. And we did this inner healing process, and he went back to a memory where he was 3 years old. That's where the problem was. He had been living with that problem for 70 years. And at age 73, he invited Jesus in. Jesus revealed truth. He was set free. And today, that man stands up in front of his church and shares his testimony, and he's a different person. But it took 70 years for him to deal with that lie. Shouldn't we all be dealing with those lies earlier so that we can be set free? What happens if we do invite Jesus into these rooms? He will bring His truth. He will bring His love. And He will set us free. The good news is that Jesus is the healer, and He wants us to be free.